is DJ Wolf Live. You know, I was inspired by Jaden Daniels, and of course, it was also inspired by a lot of people say that it was a Daniel that went to the Lions Den, which is what he did and he conquered. And I was thinking the same thing. When you go into a Lions Den, and I'm talking about being parable to a situation you might have to overcome uh, insurmountable obstacles. You got to be prepared to, you know, figuratively weaponize yourself and have the right tools to do it with. And I don't mean in a, I'm not necessarily talking about violence, you know, but I'm talking about more in the mental way at times where you have to be able to figure out things with responsibility, you know. And there's situations where that's going to happen, you know. I've been through situations like that, folks. No question about it. I have. I've been in situations like that where you had to literally figure out how to get yourself out of an insurmountable uh, situation by going through things, man. It could be from the smaller things to the biggest of things, but you got to be prepared to get your way, to finagle your way out of it, you know. And it's an uphill fight for some of us. I've been in situations like that where I was like, man, I never thought I would get through it, you know. But sometimes you just gotta let go and let God and just deal with it. Deal with the hands that you in the hand that you have, and go from there. You know, that's like when I was growing up in Cleveland, and I didn't think I'd have a so-called chance of ever doing the things I'm doing today. And then I went ahead and left Cleveland, kind of on my own terms, and things changed for the better. But it was for me at the time like going to a Lions Den for me. It really was because I didn't know. I left home, and I was telling my son about it. At the time, I was like, I didn't have any money. I really didn't. I didn't have $50 to my barely $50 to my name when I left Cleveland in 1986. Didn't know what was going to happen. Didn't know if I was ever going to get back home. You know, but by the grace of God, I played the right hand, and I went from there. You know, some of us don't want to take chances of moving on. There was a guy. Now the reason why I said I'm also talking about this. There was a guy on my 600 pound life. It was recently aired. It recently aired, I think, this week. Young guy. He wasn't. I don't think he was 30 years old. I think he was like 27, 28 years old. He never left home. He never had a job. I'm like, how are you 28 years old and you never had a job? I don't even know if he even finished high school. You know, but if you never finish high school, you never have a job, man. You gotta get yourself together. But he was so depressed and he was overweight, and it's really sad because he had insurmountable things that he had to climb. His mother was a former drug addict. His father was in jail, so he didn't, and then he was hanging out with the wrong crowds, so he really didn't have a whole lot to stand on. But you know, eventually, Doctor Now had got him the help that he needed and talked to people to try to get his mind right. But he never wanted to do that, you know. But if you really, I mean, and my thing of it was, he was so down bad that he didn't bother to think about doing the thing he needed to do and motivate himself to do it. And see, and I was telling my wife, that's the key. You can have 1,000 people talking in your ear about you being down bad, and not doing what you need to do for yourself because you're too busy listening to everybody else. At some point, you have to listen to your conscience, the right conscience, to get yourself ahead and through it. Believe me, I've been around people, myself personally, even my own closest of family members, that put me down bad, like you would not believe, you know. And some people say, "Oh, you're this, your father, blah 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 blah," but you wouldn't know he was saying it, you know. But I had to surround myself with people who were going to give me the things I needed to hear, the resources I needed to hear, the proper resources for my mindset to hear, so that I could actually make the just and sound decisions that I need to do to give myself a chance and a good fight, a right for my life, man, to get my life right. Like Tamari said, go get your life right. You know, I give her that. I love that. That's a great message, and I'm telling you right now, anytime if I ever post it, I'm gonna give her credit for it, because she said one of the most profound things I've ever heard anybody say recently. Get your life right. Yep. All props to Tamar Braxton on that. But it's true. You should. That's what it comes down to. And the young man, he just couldn't get it right. I don't know. He was just so depressed. He didn't care. You know, it was sad part about it. He didn't have people that cared about him enough to help him get it right. I think his mom really did try. She did at the end, but he still didn't want to do it. He just didn't even care at that point. He had no motivation. It was really sad, man. You know, and he was over 700 pounds. I think we're right around 700 pounds. Sad, but at the end of the day, you have to be able to listen to people who are trying to get you to where you know you need to be. In order for you to be there, you got to give an ear to the people who are trying to help you get there. That's the main thing. Because otherwise, you're going to be in the same funk you're going to always be forever in a day if you don't do it. And that's unfortunate for him. You know. But I was in a situation where I had family telling me this, oh, you never be this, you just like your mama, or just like that, all that. I heard it all. I heard it all. That's called everything but a son, a child of God, literally, by my own family, my own parents rather. And I had to make a decision myself. They can't live my life for me. I had to live my life for myself. There was one time when my dad told me one thing, I've been out here in DMV since 1988. My dad was trying to convince me to go back to Cleveland, telling me I didn't need to be down here. I mean, he literally said that. He said, "Never forget it. God rest his soul." But he did tell me that. He said, "Oh, you don't need to be down here." In other words, I can't live my life. I need to be where you at, so you can tell me how bad your life is. Which, in essence, what was going on at the time. He was telling me how. And I'm like, I need to hear what I need to do to make my life right. You had your chance. You had your time to do what you needed to do. Now it's my turn to do what I need to do, and I don't need anybody to be telling me about how bad your life is. It's time for me to get myself right, so somebody can tell me how hard I need to work to get myself right. That's what I needed. I didn't need anything beyond that. You know, I needed somebody to motivate me. And once I joined the military, I got that motivation for people who, will get in your grit for you to get yourself together, and that's where it came down to. You know, my dad did somewhat motivate me, but motivated me to be better than what I was, to be better than even what he thought I was going to be. So that motivated me like nothing else before. I am glad of that. I'm glad I got to a point where I just had to do my own thing. and not listen to what people say about what I couldn't do, and listen to and do what I'm capable of doing. And that was the main thing, you know, because when you start listening to people who tell you about what you can't do, you know, that you can't uh, go to school, you can't be a doctor, you can't be a lawyer, you can't be a politician, you can't be this, you can't be that. If you listen to them and you keep on believing that mess, it's never going to happen for you. You have to believe in yourself. You have to motivate yourself, folks, because sometimes thinking other people who can motivate you may not always be the best thing, but you do have to motivate yourself. It starts with you. It really does. It starts with you. In order to get out the battle your way out the lion's den, you have to motivate yourself first. Yeah. Oh, hi, MM2 lover. Thank you, thank you. I'm actually talking about getting yourself out the lion's den. How you been? I'm just trying to motivate people. I'm just, I was talking about being in the funk, you know, growing up, and I happened to watch my 600 pound life the other night about a young man who was 28 years old and couldn't and struggled with weight and couldn't get himself right, even though people was trying to motivate him to get himself right. I'm doing fine, thank you. I appreciate you. And I'm just talking about how you gotta start with you. You know, you can't wait for people to try to motivate you. If you want to get yourself right in the right light in life, you have to start with you first. You know, you do. You just do. You know what I mean? And I'm good, thank you. But you just have to get right. We have to learn to motivate ourselves, to push ourselves to do better. You know, and I'm talking about in general. You know, I'm talking about people talking about, I can't do this. My mama said this. My daddy said this. The hell with all of that. You know, and one of the things I was saying earlier, my dad told me I was military, and I was in the military at the time, and I was doing fairly well. You know, I was doing my thing. I think he was a little jealous of that. And first thing he told me, "Oh, you need to go back to Cleveland." I was like, "Come back to Cleveland for what?" You know, he didn't like what I said, but I didn't care. You know, I'm your son, not your slave. You know, and you would think that the one who's supposed to motivate you the most is the one who's closest to you. And that ain't always the case. Definitely wasn't the case for him at the time. And I feel to this day, at the time, how bad I felt. Because that's when I would always think that would pick you up. And he was the one that let me down, in terms of my mindset, let me down the most. And so, in other words, your family aren't always going to be your closest of, thank you. Your family are not going to always be your closest of motivators, you know. And I've even had, uh, some of my best motivators were my school counselors, principals, teachers, even crossing guards, man, neighbors, some of my best friends. You know, because sometimes a family can hate on you just because you have a chance for a fresh start that they don't have anymore. You know, I've been down that road. I've had learning disability when I was diagnosed with that at 10 years old. It's not a disability. It's just something that you have, that you can use come back from a setback, and I did. It means nothing to me. I don't even consider it a disability, really. It's just a minor setback that can help you motivate you to a comeback in the day. You know, you can't let people get in your head to put you down. You have to turn around. You got to. You know, that's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. All right, guys. I love talking about motivation, motivating yourself, and motivating other people. Um, so we are not, but we are you driving not to be creepy in Germany. Okay. We are you driving not to be creepy. Well, actually, I got a meeting I got to go to. I'll put it like that. So, um, that's gonna be kind of a lion's den for me too. So I gotta see what's going on with this. This is crazy. I'll tell you a little bit about it when I get out of it. But thank you, M2 Lover. I appreciate you. I appreciate everything you did for me as far as support my channel. I love you for that. Thank you so much. Um, but for you guys that's watching and listening, please rate, subscribe, comment if you can. Love the subs, man. I'm gonna try to do another live one from my basement studio real soon, man. I've been meaning to do that for the longest. Um, uh, well, that's all I got now. But stay motivated, stay positive, man. Help try to motivate somebody who needs that motivation, man. There's something I like better to do than to motivate others, especially our young people, man, because they need it. This right now with all this mess going on out here, it's just you gotta keep them focused, man. Because if you listen to number 47, who was also number 45, he'll keep you thinking down in the dumps all the time, and we can't let that happen. We gotta stay motivated. We gotta stay positive. All right, one love. Thank you. God bless. I'm out.